to DC vs. Marvel month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, we're checking out a film from 2016. That movie is Batman Bad Blood. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, out of all of DC's animated movies, this one is probably the one I know the least about. Because the only thing I know about it is that Batman has gone missing for some reason. And the rest of Gotham's superheroes are all going to try to figure out where the hell he went. And I know that amongst them are Robin and Nightwing, who were in the previous animated Batman movies, but it's also brought in Batwoman and Batwing, which is totally cool. I am absolutely looking forward to that. But honestly, outside of those four characters trying to find Batman, I know nothing else about the plot of this thing. I honestly never even got to see a trailer for this one. I usually at least get to watch a trailer for most of these. So I'm going into this thing absolutely blind. I have no earthly clue what the hell I am getting into. I'm certainly hoping for it to be good, because DC's animated movies are normally really good. But that still doesn't mean that this thing is going to be guaranteed good. After all, I watched Superman Unbound, and that one really sucked. But I'm not going to worry about that. I certainly am hoping for this thing to be decent, and the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Batman Bad Blood. Wow, guys, I just noticed this. I've been listening to Lucius Fox talk for about a minute now. I finally figured out who fucking plays him. Ernie Hudson is playing Lucius Fox. Dude, that is awesome! And he's actually doing a fantastic job of it. Wow, it's been a long time since I've heard Ernie Hudson, if it took me that long to actually pick him out. Still, though, fucking awesome. You know, guys, I'm just going to say this right now. This movie's main villain, Heretic, I'm really not digging him too much. I honestly think it's like a myriad of things. I personally think that his costume is kind of shit. He honestly is not that threatening or menacing. And also, I really can't take a villain seriously when his gang is made up of essentially the entirety of the Z-list of Batman's gallery. It's like, he really couldn't have found any better villains to join him. No, it's Killer Moth and Firefly and Tusk and a bunch of other losers who really aren't even worth looking at. So, because he really couldn't even get a decent gang together, I really just can't take Heretic himself seriously. I'm certainly hoping that he gets more interesting as the movie goes, but right now I'm really not digging him too much. Well, guys, good news. I don't have to deal with Heretic anymore. And the whole revelation that he was a Damian Wayne clone just made him even shittier as a character. But hey, at least honestly, now we have a decent lead villain. And she's got an even better villain working for her. So we're no longer stuck with Batman's like Z-list of fucking loser, villains. We actually have ones who matter. That's great. Do you know, guys, one thing I love about these DC movies? It's all of the little things. All just the little, like, details and callbacks. I see them and I love them. We just saw a newscast, and it was from Channel 52. So naturally, it's called News 52. And the Channel 52 logo looks exactly like the logo that DC Comics used when they launched the New 52. Again, it's small, it's nothing, it's something that only the nerdiest of nerds, like me, are going to notice. And it was awesome! I loved it! It was really cool. And honestly, guys, the movie itself is really, really decent. But once more, it's those little things I notice, and they just make me smile. Well, guys, that was Batman Bad Blood. Let me shut that off. Okay. Well, where to start? Okay, I know. Why don't we start with the writing? The writing for this one, it kind of sort of surprised me, you see, because I'd say like the first half of this movie is kind of shit. And it's not shit because of the story flow. It's shit because of who you see as, like, the selection of villains. Because the movie opens and they're talking about how Black Mask and his gang are currently at war with this other gang of tech-savvy Gotham villains. Then you see this gang of tech-savvy Gotham villains, and they're all a bunch of Z-list losers, including Tusk and Firefly and Killer Moth and, oh god, who the hell was the other one? It was the Electrocutioner. Yeah, they were really scraping when they were digging up these. And a new villain I've never heard of, Heretic. And, and I really thought that was going to be, like, the whole focus. And then, in, like, the back of my mind, I was thinking, but since this gang is at war with Black Mask, we'll maybe have something cool with Black Mask. Black Mask is in the movie for one scene. The actor playing him, I'll get to that in a minute, but that totally ruined the whole thing with Black Mask. So I thought I was going to be stuck with this really shit stable of villains. I thought we were going to be stuck with Heretic and Firefly and Killer Moth and, all these other losers. And then about the halfway point, we see the real villains. We see essentially we essentially see the tier above these losers. And we see the Mad Hatter, and we see Talia, and we see Calculator. Calculator's not exactly a great one, but goddammit, at least it's something. And once we've been introduced to them, the movie starts getting interesting. And correction, I mean, in terms of, like, villains, we finally have a threat that's credible and interesting. And then the movie just kind of sort of takes off, and it starts getting really good. So it kind of sort of took the movie a while to give us villains who were worth fucking looking at. But what about everything else? The actual story is really fascinating, because it is that in a fight with, Tusk and Killer Moth and the other fucking batch of Z-list geeks, Batman goes missing, and everybody thinks he's dead. At least everyone who's directly tied into the whole Bat family thing believes that Batman is dead. And Batwoman shows up, and this here is her first time in any movie in this series anyway. And she is incredibly likable. We are also introduced to Batwing in this movie, and Batwing is handled incredibly well, so we now have a nice stable of Bat characters. All of them are awesome. All of them are likable. There is one more who pops up at the very end, which is why I want a fucking direct sequel to this, and not more of the whole expanded DC thing with the fucking Titans and the Justice League. I want more Batman set in this world, just so that way we can get more of these characters. So yeah, guys, we are introduced to Batwing, and Batwing kicks ass, and Batwoman is awesome. And naturally, Batman and Robin and Nightwing are all fucking cool. And when they finally find Batman, which, once more, is like shortly after the halfway mark, the final act, the story gets dark, and it gets dark incredibly fast, because Talia's plan is sheer brilliance, and it's fucking awesome. And you get this massive fight at the very end, and everything's balanced, everything is great, everything kicks ass. There is a final showdown, which I'm not going to go into too many details, but it leads to Batman putting a gun barrel underneath his own chin and threatening to shoot. And it's done so fucking well. You're sitting there and you're watching it, and there's just so much tension in that fucking scene. It is amazing. The writing here started off kind of weak, and it got stronger until you hit the end, and goddammit, you want more. And that is always good. It is always good to leave the viewers wanting more, especially when it's something like this, when you know that there's almost guaranteed to be another sequel. There almost has to be another sequel. I want one that badly. This kicked that much ass in terms of writing. So, the writing is strong, but what about the voice acting? Well, all of the actors who've appeared in previous movies in this specific continuity of Batman films, which includes Son of Batman and Batman vs. Robin, as well as Justice League War and the Flashpoint Paradox and all that, All of them are coming back, which means that we still get Jason. So we still have Jason O'Mara as Batman, and he's fucking amazing. Everybody else comes in, and they are doing an amazing job. And then there's Steve Blum. Let's talk about Steve Blum for a sec. I have stated many times I am not a fan of Steve Blum because the motherfucker has maybe about 3 voices that he uses. Here, he's cast to play 2 characters. Those 2 characters have the same fucking voice, unaltered and unchanged. Black Mask and Firefly have the exact same goddamn voice because Steve Blum doesn't know how to fucking act. The man doesn't know how to create new voices. And when he's playing Black Mask, a character who actually has some level of personality, he phones it in. It sounds wooden and fucking lifeless. I would love it if we lived in a world where Steve Blum stopped getting hired. Or barring that, a world where Steve Blum actually gets some fucking depth. Okay? Motherfucker, you have maybe, at best, 3 goddamn voices, and I'm sick and tired of hearing them in almost every animated project and video game and everything else I fucking hear him in. I am so sick to death of him, and frankly, his small performance here is a horrendous blemish on a movie that is otherwise amazingly cast. Because every other cast member's trying. Then Steve Blum comes in and fucks it all up. Fuck him and fuck his shitty acting. I'm sick and tired of hearing him. And the day that he gets out of the voice acting game is, I think, the day everybody's gonna stand up and cheer. Okay? Fuck him. Anyway, besides him, everybody else in the cast, amazing. Well, no, correction. There is one other one. I don't know who the fuck they got to play. I don't know who the hell they got to play fucking Heretic, but he sucked too. Because he's trying to sound intimidating, and he's trying to sound tough, and it doesn't work. You need to do more to sound tough than just put a whole lot of bass in your voice and shout a lot. That doesn't make you sound tough. That just kind of makes you sound fucking shit. Okay. Perhaps maybe if they would have gotten someone there who also knew how to act, it would probably be decent. But thankfully, I commented about how the villains got better in the second half. That's partially because Heretic isn't there for the second half. Thank fuck for that. But still, it would have been nice if they would have cast somebody better there. Would have been better if they would have dumped Steve fucking Blum in a shallow fucking ditch and would have gotten somebody better to play, Firefly and Black Mask. But beyond those 2 casting choices, everything else here in terms of voice work was awesome. I loved all of it. It was all fantastically done. The actors actually knew what they were doing. They actually put in some effort. And I think that is why Blum and this other fucking goofus stand out so much, is because the rest of the cast is turning in such awesome work. That when you have a lazy turd like fucking Blum phoning it in, it's a lot more noticeable. When you have this other guy just sitting there all fucking bass and shouting, and that just sounds awful, it stands out and you notice it. That, I think, is why I noticed those 2 over everything else, is because the rest of the cast is so fucking good. Anyway, I'm gonna move past acting, because it's just gonna be more of me bitching about these two talentless goofuses who tried to ruin the fucking movie. Anyway, art style. This is the very same art style you've seen in Son of Batman, and in Batman vs. Robin, and in Justice League War, and in the Flashpoint Paradox. In all of the films, well, Flashpoint Paradox had a slightly different look, but still, that's kind of part of the same continuity of films, and they almost all share the same art style. And it's a really nice art style. I will say that for a good chunk of the film, because Batman is missing, Dick Grayson, Nightwing, has to take over Batman's spot. And the only suit that is still in the Batcave is the classic is the classic 70s and 80s bat suit, which has the big yellow oval chest emblem, and it was really awesome to see that because I've always liked that over just the plain bat. So I got to see that. That was fucking awesome. The art style here, just all of it literally just pops out, and it looks great. It's amazing. Animation here, again, it's from the same people who've worked on all these other movies, and they know what they're doing, and they can do ridiculously fluid shit. Probably the best is during this fucking knockdown drag out fight between Talia and fucking Batwoman. When those two are fucking fighting, it is so fluid. It is so amazing. It looks awesome. That, and also the fight between Nightwing and Batman. Also, it just flows beautifully, and it looks awesome. Actually, every single fight looks great, but those two in the final act stand out, and they look amazing. Sound mix here is great. The fucking music here is awesome. Ultimately, guys, almost everything about this movie works, minus the villains in the first half and 2 casting choices. Those honestly are the only complaints I fucking have. So when all is said and done, I'm able to recommend Batman Bad Blood. Yes, I fucking can. It certainly is not the best movie that DC has ever put out, but it is far from the worst. This thing here is a worthy addition to that string of DC animated films, and it makes me look forward to the next one, which I do have for this month, which is Justice League versus Teen Titans. I cannot wait to get into that, but I do have a few movies before I get to that one, and I'm probably going to watch this thing at least one more fucking time before I get to that, so that's always cool. Now, Batman Bad Blood came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was Daniel, and I would love to give you guys something to go check out of his, but Daniel never messaged me and told me what to really put down. So I don't know if Daniel has a YouTube channel or a Facebook page or a Tumblr account or a DA page or something I could link. Sadly, I don't have any of that. But I will say to Daniel, I thank you. Out of all the DC animated movies, this one here is the one that I knew the absolute least about. I had no idea if it was going to be any friggin' good. It wound up kicking a fuckload of ass in the second half, and I'm so happy to have watched it. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity if you hadn't have sent it in. And for that, I thank you, dude. You are awesome. And once more, Daniel, I would really have loved to have put out anything of yours, a Facebook page or a Twitter account, like anything, but sadly, because I didn't get any kind of links, I unfortunately can just say, thanks, dude, and that's about all I can do. My God, man, I am always constantly shocked at just how good these fucking direct-to-video DC animated movies are. And I think that is because I grew up during a time when being a fucking direct-to-video movie was a horrible stigma that normally meant that it really sucked. And then Warner Brothers started pumping out these, and they are of such awesome quality that it makes me look forward to finding direct-to-fucking-video stuff, because I'm hoping that studios will do stuff as good as what Warner Brothers is pumping out. Then I watch things like Planet Hulk, and those hopes kind of sort of fizzle a little bit. But oh well, I'm not gonna let that sour my awesome mood right now. This thing has 2 episodes of Batman the fucking Brave and the Bold on it. I'm gonna go watch those probably while I'm editing this. So I am going to go and do that. I'm going to have a whole hell of a lot of fun doing that. And with that, my friends, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.